Welcome, friends. We have Mr. Subhendu Roy with us today. And it's a privilege that we have Mr. Subhendu Roy, who has a lot of experience in operational excellence and safety best practices. I will just give you a brief idea about his background. Mr. Subhendu Roy is a MTech IIT Kharagpur. He has passed out from that, and he's a chemical engineer basically. Throughout his life, he has worked with a lot of multinational companies, and all the companies that he has worked with are great companies, I would say. He has worked with DuPont, which is known for safety practices. And we will also know from him how was his experience of working with DuPont and especially on safety. Then he has worked with 3M. This is again a very well-known company, and he has served 3M, and lastly he served UPL, that is United Phosphorus Limited. So he has a wide experience of working with all these companies actually, and he's also certified, Lean Six Sigma Black Belt from DuPont actually, and he has been trained in USA for that actually. Welcome, Mr. Subhendu Roy.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, we would like to know about your experience, especially on safety with DuPont, actually, sir.
Yeah, as you rightly said, DuPont is synonymous with safety. So you can't survive, without safety in DuPont.
Yeah.
So all my background, of course, my safety journey has not started from DuPont. Okay, it has started from the day one when I joined ONGC in the Bombay High offshore.
Okay.
It is 165 kilometers away from the shore.
Okay.
And it is a oil and gas platform, highly hazardous, inflammable, and we are pumping the gas at 100 kg pressure. If a small flare or spark happens, then entire platform will be blown and entire life will go. So when your life is at stake, then you have to follow the safety. So safety was a compulsion there. Then once you are habituated with this, it becomes your habit.
Yes.
So safety has become my habit when I worked for ONGC.
Okay.
Then I worked for Sanamide India Limited. There's an agrochemical plant, highly hazardous, flammability as well as toxicity, both.
Okay.
So hazards has three things. One is the flammability, toxicity, and reactivity. So all three things were there into this. As I had a safety background, so I didn't have any problem to work with Sanamide safely. And I was not only that I was the production head, I was the production manager, but I was looking after the safety as a facilitator for the entire plant, even though we had a safety manager. So that's what. And surprisingly, that it was in 1994. Can you imagine how many years back? It is around 26 years back. And even Cyanamide has this concept of process safety management.
Okay.
And PSSR, which we are talking today, which we'll be talking today, why it is important. And process, the pre-startup safety review was being used in Cyanamide area.
Okay.
So my, involvement in this concept on hands-on basis started in 1994.
Okay.
Then, of course, I joined DuPont. I had 11 years of stint with the DuPont, and I was, of course, I was the operations manager to start up their greenfield site, but I was also a safety champion.
Okay.
Because DuPont believes that safety is a line manager responsibility. So I was the plant manager. Plant manager is the CEO of safety.
Right.
That's what it is. And whatever may be your designation, you have to be hands-on some safety.
Okay.
So I was the process safety management champion. So DuPont has a philosophy, like within 1 year operation, you have to get the ISO certification. In second year, within 2 years, you have to get the ISO 14000, and within 3 years of the plant operation, you have to certify PSM certified by DuPont globally.
Okay.
So it is the internal certification. It is a second party certification by the DuPont global.
So you are already trained on this.
I was trained on this and I was the champion. Yeah.
Okay.
I was the champion. I was driving this, even though I was the plant manager, but you have to drive from the front.
Yeah. I think
So
when
that's
it
the
comes
DuPont
to
culture.
safety, many people say DuPont
Yes.
is not into safety.
Yes, yes. So you have to drive from the front. You cannot be in the back seat, even though you're a plant manager. So you have to do this. So that's what, we have hands-on experience on the safety. So now I'll of course, after that, as you rightly said, I work for 3M. Again, the PSM and PSSR all are followed into this. And when I joined, UPL, even though I was the Vice President of Operation Excellence, but because of my background, so they put me to do the risk management, safety risk management for the entire UPL with the help of my team. So we did that.
Okay.
And I introduced the PSSR as a part of the risk management in UPL.
Okay, sir.
So that's my journey with PSM and PSSR throughout my career. And now let's go back to the history of PSM.
Yeah, so I was just asking this question, sir.
Yeah.
How, many participants may not know what is actually this PSSR and how, is it a part of PSM or is it separate?
Yes, I'm coming to this. So before I go to the PSSR, I have to just brief about the PSM, its origin and what it is. PSSR, pre-startup safety review, is one of the 14 elements of PSM.
Okay.
So it's a part of the PSM.
Okay, sir.
And PSM, what happened in US in 1980s? There are a lot of accident happens.
Yes.
In the refineries, in the chemical industries. So then OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration in US, started this process safety concept in 1980s, based on the result of the investigation of those incidents. And then in 1992, they formed these PSM standards with the 14 elements. So I'll not go to the details of the PSM. So I'll stress more on the PSSR, which is the need of the hour. Of course, it was there earlier, but it's much more predominant in the current scenario. So I'll touch upon this. PSSR, it's self-explanatory. Pre-startup safety review. That means before you start up the facility, you have to review your safety system. You have to see that everything is healthy, everything is operational in terms of safety.
Okay.
The main objective of the PSSR is to prevent any safety incident after the startup. That's the objective of that. So take all the precautions before the startup. So PSSR is applied in 3 conditions. One is definitely when you start up a new facility after the project implementation, you have to do the pre-startup safety review. That is number 1. Number 2, even in the existing plant, if you do any modification, after the modification, when you start the facility, you have to do the PSSR. And there is another concept called MOC, Management of Change.
Yes.
So you have to follow this management of change, and PSSR will ensure that you have complied the MOC, so that you can prevent any accident because of the modification of the plant. This is second condition. Third condition, which is very critical, if your plant is shut for more than 7 days,
like most of the companies now in Corona.
Yes, that's what I'm coming to into this. And many people may not know this. Most of the people know that PSSR is done only before the startup of a new facility.
Okay.
That's the people have. most of the people have this knowledge.
Right.
But the third aspect, which is very critical, that when you start up a facility after a shutdown for more than 7 days, again you have to contact the PSSR.
So, sir, how is it relevant in this situation? After this lockdown, what is the relevance of this PSSR in current scenario, sir?
Yes.
And most of the companies may have already started their operations. So, when I talk about this concept with few companies, they said that we have already started our factory and it is running safely. Now we don't need any PSSR.
Yeah.
So,
So
can you
I'll
put
come to
some
this
light on
point.
that actually?
Yeah. First, I'll come, okay, what is done in the PSSR, and then I'll come to this point.
Yeah.
Like how it is relevant even after starting this. I'll come to this. First of all, PSSR is basically an audit
Okay.
conducted by a team who are the cross-functional team from the project, from the engineering, from the maintenance, from the safety, from the production. It is a cross-functional team who knows about the process very well.
Right, sir.
And it is led by a leader. And it has a checklist based on the hazards associated with that particular operation. So that checklist, of course, there is a guidelines how to prepare the checklist, but based on the hazards, you have tailor-made your checklist.
Okay.
So the team will prepare the checklist before they start the PSSR, and they conduct the PSSR review before the startup. And unless all the recommendations and findings the PSSR is closed, you are not allowed to start the plant.
Okay.
That's the concept of the philosophy or the methodology of the PSSR.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so now I'll coming to your question that some companies have already started. How PSSR is relevant in that aspect? You see,
Right.
accident is a matter of chance.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Suppose you have bypassed or you have not done the PSSR, and some hazards are already remain in your existing operation.
Right.
And because of chances, so you have not come across with an accident, but there is no guarantee that those deficiency will not result in any accident in future. So
Right.
even they have started, so yes, it is always the best part that if you do the PSSR, before you start up, but you are fortunate, you have not met with an accident, but you cannot be fortunate forever. So even after that, you can conduct the PSSR and you find out what are the gaps or deficiencies in our safety system so that you can prevent any accident. And now you can see, you read the newspaper. Now
Yes, sir.
every
Yesterday
day
only
almost
some
some of
news
the accidents
actually.
are happening. So these
Every day,
companies
yes.
where the accident is
I think
happening,
in the
yeah, so they might have started 7 days back. Am I right? So they're
yeah,
fortunate that for 7 days there are no accident.
yeah.
But after
In fact,
7 days,
yesterday
yeah.
also there was a news that one large company had a very big blast in the Dahej
Yes.
or Ankleshwar, and
Yeah.
there was a one fatal injury and
Yeah.
one person had to yeah, yeah. Okay. So
So
this is
PSS is a very effective tool,
yeah.
to prevent any accident.
Yeah, because see, I think in lockdown, what is happening is now that either some new employees are coming, or you have to work with less number of employees. So there are a lot of chances of errors, and you must avoid these chances of errors actually, because
Yeah.
ultimately, if, we have already seen in this news actually that when when there is this kind of major accident, I mean, one factory which we know in the Hague had now is given a closure notice now. So the entire
Yeah.
business is at a stake actually.
Right. Right.
So this
Right.
is a big loss. So, sir, what are the topics that briefly we are going to cover in this PSSR, awareness program actually?
Like PSSR, what I said, okay, first we have to start with the PSM. Like we'll briefly talk about the 14 elements of that, and PSR is somehow linked with one or two elements of that. It's not a standalone element, so it has an interlink with other elements also. So we'll touch upon what are the brief about all the 14 elements, how the PSR is linked with other elements, what is PSSR, how it is done, effectively implemented in the organization, and what are the benefits you can get it. So that means in the brief, then it is more of interactive session.
Okay, sir.
More of interaction. It is always a learning by your experience or by facing. It is not a classroom, so we'll have a lot of interaction.
Okay, sir.
So that
So
we can have,
yeah.
so that the companies can prevent the any accident in future, even though they have not they have not conducted the PSR, no problem. But still, even though they would do it today, conduct it today, but still it is a prevention tool for any accident to happen in future.
Okay, sir.
So that's what I can say that.
Yeah. So I think, sir, this is very important now in this after lockdown when companies have already opened up. But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
even if what I understand from you is that there is a methodology available, proven methodology available,
yes,
and
yes.
all these world-renowned companies and companies which are being benchmarked for safety, they have been already using this kind of techniques and methods. So if any organization before even though they have started, even if they have started, if they go through this kind of programs of PSSR, I mean they can identify the missing links and they can plug those missing links to avoid any fatal accidents. Actually. That
Right,
is what
right,
I
right,
learned from you, sir.
right.
So thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable
You're
time.
most welcome. Yeah.
And we are looking forward to your intervention and program on
Yeah, it
this.
will be my pleasure.